Hi there, welcome to my channel. I'm Holly and this channel is all about my exploration of the world of graphic novels, sci-fi, and fantasy. Well, the Blackest Night saga continues and will be seemingly forever. You know, I think this story is a slow burn. I'm about 135 pages in, and so far what is happening is that we're getting a lineup of the major players for what will eventually go down. And it's shaping up to be an enormous cast of characters that will eventually face off in a battle of epic proportions. Now, in this episode, we have several new members added to the unholy Black Lantern tribe. And I don't know who any of these people are. These graphic novels are written with the assumption that you already know who all of these characters are, and the writers just can't stop and explain everybody's backstory. That's what origin stories are for. So I did do a little bit of research on just some of the characters. So no recap on this video. I will link the previous videos on Blackest Night for you, and we are continuing on. And if you enjoy this content, I ask that you hit the like button, subscribe, share, and stick around for the video. William Hand, leader of the Black Lanterns, is super busy, running from cemetery to cemetery, resurrecting all of the deceased superheroes. And then these new zombie superheroes are running around slaughtering the living superheroes, who are then immediately resurrected into the Black Lantern family. Charlie Manson would be crazy impressed. We have several new team members added to the Black Lantern roster. First of all, we have the brother team of Hank and Don Hall, also known as Hawk and Dove. Now, they used to fight crime together, but they held diametrically opposing views on the use of force. Now, Hank Hawk was extremely aggressive, while his brother, Don Dove, was a pacifist. So that should be a lot of fun if it comes up later in the story. Now, I gotta talk about Boston Brand. A bit of a deal is made about him, so I did some very surface research on his background, and it's pretty fascinating. He was a superhero called Deadman, one of the world's greatest acrobats, a trapeze artist in fact. Interestingly, he was a supernatural superhero in Ghost. See, he gets eliminated by some unknown assassin, but then he's given power by this Hindu deity, and he remained a spirit. And some of his superpowers included his ability to temporarily take possession of any living being in order to fight against evil. And he can walk through solid objects, and he can fly. Now, somehow, some way in this story, he's deceased. He's not even a ghost. And when William Hand arrives to resurrect him, he actually resists. He says, I don't want to come back. But it's all to no avail. He cannot overcome the power of the Black Ring. Now, his empty grave is discovered by some characters who refer to themselves as the Magic Folk. Yet another set of characters that I am completely clueless about, except for one, and that's the Spectre, who I came to know and love when I was reading Kingdom Come. The others with him are Phantom Stranger, Zatanna, and Blue Devil. I make mention of them because William Hand shows up, breaks up their little party, and imparts some valuable information. It seems that there are some superheroes who are impervious to the power of the Black Rings. Essentially, they're unaffected by death, and this would include the Spectre, Hawkman, and Hawkgirl. And William says that they're going to have to be moved out of the way so that the universe can finally have silence, darkness, and peace. And hey, I gotta be honest, I am a little empathetic to the universe on this one. Sometimes I want my people to move out of the way so that I can have a bit of silence and peace. But I'm not quite ready for the darkness, and I need my people to come back around me after my period of solitude, which is really just a long nap. Anyway, Then, for good measure, William Hand resurrects Crispus Allen, who at one point was host to the Spectre. Now I'm just a little confused because there's already the current Spectre who's hanging out at Boston Brand's empty grave with the other magic folk. So now I guess we've got two? And why did William Hand even bother resurrecting him? Won't he be immune to the power of the Black Rings? Does he have to be resurrected in order to be moved out of the way? All right. Now we're zoomed on over to Gotham City, where all heck has broken loose. We've got a mighty rumble going down here. We've got Hal and Barry going up against a slew of zombie heroes, including Ralph and Sue Dibney, the original Firestorm Ronnie Raymond, and Hawkman and Hawkgirl. Now, I really enjoyed the writing during this fight. It's so good. The characters are quick-witted and throw out some hilarious one-liners. They are really hurling the insults at each other. It's like, I not only want to finish you off physically, but I really want to hurt your feelings first. And I suspect that the zombie heroes are just trying to get a rise out of Hal and Barry, really make them intensely feel any sort of emotion, because that's when they go in for the kill, ripping out that emotion-filled heart to feed to the darkness. And now I have a really happy announcement to make. Ray the Atom is still alive. You know, in the last episode, he was tricked into going back to the museum where Hawkman was laying in wait to destroy him, but he failed. The Atom lives, and now he's right alongside Hal and Barry. That's not to say that the Atom is completely whole. Hawkman really put him through the ringer, and he looks truly awful, like, we need to get you to the hospital, awful. So during this particular skirmish, some important discoveries are made. First, the Flash tries to remove the black ring from Ronnie Raymond's finger, but is sickened, as I was, to discover that the black rings had actually grown roots into the zombie heroes' bodies. And if you try to damage them, like sever them, they just reform. They grow back like starfish, which is really gross and terrifying. So removing the ring is impossible. I thought it was a really good idea to try. Start with the possible simple solution, and if that doesn't work, then move on to the next idea. But the next thing that they discover is that Ray was able to shrink down and get inside and examine one of the black rings and discovered that it was very different from the Green Lantern rings. They are porous like bones, and they're laced with these microscopic wormholes that are channeling energy, but to where and why? So asks the Atom, and me. I ask the same questions. And I just love how they're getting all sciencey and doing some in-depth detective work while they are fighting for their lives. But I guess they're going to have to do at least two things at once because they are running out of time. And I'm so glad that Barry Allen is a part of this because he did study forensics. I mean, that was his job. So perhaps his knowledge can be used in figuring out how these black rings work. Perhaps he'll be instrumental in devising a plan to somehow deactivate them. Now back to the action. So we've got Ralph Dibney, Elongated Man, taunting Ray with the details of their tortured past. If you'll recall, Ray's ex-wife, Jean Loring, neutralized Ralph's wife, Sue Dibney. And Ray is just filled with sadness and just sudden compassion for all of them, for Ralph and Sue Dibney, Jean Loring. And he's trying to explain to zombie Ralph Dibney that it was an accident. And obviously this was a fiendish trick used by Ralph to induce an outpouring of emotion. Poor naive Ray. He's already escaped death once at the hands of a friend. Can he do it again? Does he feel lucky? Does he? Well, folks, I'm going to end this installment right here on a wonderful cliffhanger. Please join me next time to discover Ray's fate and then a bunch of other stuff. All right, I'm out of here, but please stay tuned. I'll be right back.